Hi everybody, this is Gail and welcome to my channel. We're doing a live stream trivia tonight. Can you believe it? Doing it and whoops, that was my Velcro catching on my leg brace. Sorry about that, y'all. It's National Park Lands Day today. So I'm doing a national park trivia here on this channel in honor of National Park Lands Day. So I'm really excited to be able to do this. National Park Lands is, well, it's the largest volunteer event of the year for national parks. And it's really important because volunteers do a lot of work for cleaning out trails and picking up trash and actually building projects. So the National Park Lands Day was set aside annually, and it's always the same Saturday in September. So it's always the fourth Saturday. And it really, people do a lot of good with the national park lands. So I'm going to get into that more in just a minute. In the meantime, go ahead and hit the button to subscribe if you have not already done so. Okay, and don't forget to give me a like on the video, which is actually the live stream. But if you catch it later, it's going to be the video, right? So do that. But it's just a really fun day. A lot of people get to do a lot of different projects. From, like I said, they clean the trails, they clear out brush, really do some really neat things to make all of our national park lands really special. So we're fortunate in that. The U.S. actually, let me turn this down, good gracious. The U.S. is really fortunate to have some great national park lands. Hey, we have been joined by Fairyana Vlogs. So hi, Fairyana. And we have been joined by Busy Lady 35. So hi, Busy Lady. Hello, you both. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Cooking but listening is what Busy says. That's awesome. That's awesome. Y'all, I talked to Stellar Piper just a little while ago, and she says that she really won't be in this week. She's in the air, so maybe next week. And we'll grill her, and she can tell us any insights that she wants to share about her trip. So we'll get her on all of that. And let's see. Fairyana says that she's okay, but dealing with depression. I understand that, and I am so sorry. It's depression's a bear. It's just problematic, and I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that. Yes, she has been posting some awesome photos. I'm a little jealous, actually, maybe a little more than a little jealous. So, anytime you can go to Walt Disney World, it's a really, even if you just go for the one day, it's still Walt Disney World, But as far as I'm concerned, Walt Disney World's about to price themselves out of my budget big time. And when we always go, we always do some of the things that don't cost money. Like, people sometimes don't realize that you can ride the monorail and transportation and go to all the resorts, and you don't have to pay anything to do that. You don't need a park ticket. So anyway, that's another video. Totally another video. Yeah, I hear you, Fairyana. Fairyana would love a vacation, but she's broke. Yeah, I hear you. It's that intersection of budget meets wants that gets us. But staycations are good too. You can pack a picnic and go out for the afternoon and have a really fun staycation day. And you can, that can be a really good break. But there again, it's tough because lately it's like the literal saying, I'm up, I'm out of bed. What else do you want? So I hear you. Okay, let me pull this in. So, National Public Lands Day. One of the really cool things about National Public Lands Day even if you don't go clean up a park or anything like that to volunteer, one of the neat things about it is it's one of the 6 free days for national parks. They do 6 free days a year. I'm going to pull this all up so I can make sure I tell you the right day so I don't mess up. Free entrance days. And so the next free entrance day is November 11, and that's Veterans Day. So it says many national parks have connections to the American military, such as battlefield, military parks, and historic sites. And the Park Service invites all visitors to remember our veterans by visiting any national park for free on Veterans Day. Now, all national parks don't charge, but a lot of national parks and public lands do have a fee. So on Veterans Day, Martin Luther King Jr., April 17th, that whole week, which is National Parks Week, that first day of it, the 17th of April, that was free. The anniversary of the Great American Outdoors Act was free, as was the National Park Service birthday on August 25, and today, the National Park Lands Day. Let's see. Fariana says, I was up and went to Powhatan and got a crazy shake. Was supposed to be a group, but I ended up solo. I hate that it started out being a group, but I hope you had a good time solo, because that's really nice too, to be able to just be away by yourself and think. A lot of times that's really nice. That's one of the reasons why I like solo female travel. Not to disrespect the rest of the world there, but it's just nice to be able to just push everything off to the side and just relax. And of course, one of the places that I go a lot when I'm doing the solo female travel is our national parks. And that's because when I've got the disabled access pass, so they're free for me. I don't have to worry about entrance fees, which makes it really nice. And and there's something, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But there's something about being out in nature, just where it's pretty and you're just kind of communing with nature. I like that. Let's see. Fariana says, true. Now I'm doing Epsom salt bath. I'm home alone. There you go. Have your Epsom salts. Toss in some self-care, some self-love there. There you go. Moms never get enough of it. Women in general don't, but moms especially. I hate how places have entrance fees plus regular fees to do things like state fairs. Yeah, it makes it hard. It really does. And it's like you go in, for example, I don't know how your state fair is. Ours is, you buy your ticket and then you go in and you buy more tickets for rides, which is like what you're talking about. So you get hit twice, but I guess a lot of people go in and they don't do any of the rides or anything like that. I usually, when I was younger anyway, I used to do like the whole all day armband sign me up ticket, Busy Lady says she loves being in nature. Yeah, there's just something about it. It just helps you relax. And if you're really lucky, you get rewarded by amazing sunsets or amazing sunrises if you're up early enough to see the sun come up, which is never my problem. Yeah, entrance fee, then 25% for the wristband. Talking about the fair, yeah, it is expensive. Absolutely, it can be. Yeah, and that's one of the things that like national parks and national park lands are really great about, because if you do have an entrance fee, you're done. You're not being nickel and dimed usually for a movie or anything like that. And they all have these little educational films. A lot of them do anyway. I think all the national parks do. If I'm wrong on that, correct me. Drop that comment. But it's just a really good value. You're not paying extra to go to a picnic. You're not, you know, to go to a picnic table, the picnic areas. Like you don't have a day use fee and a national park entrance fee. So let's see. Busy ladies loving this fall. Awesome. It's a good season. Very good season. So, okay, going back, what is National Public Lands Day? That's the nation's largest single day volunteer event for public lands, but a lot of people don't know that it was established actually in 1994. And so it goes back to then, fourth Saturday in September, and thousands of volunteers get out for it to help just improve and do things for the national public lands, which is really cool. Um, so I guess the next question is, what are national park lands? Okay, and Fariana says they've got some that charge parking fees. Now, is the parking fee on top of the entrance fee? Usually it's not, but I want to just check and make sure everyone didn't sneak in. Okay, so what are national public lands? The public lands are lands of area and water that are owned collectively by U.S. citizens, but they're managed by the government agencies. And public lands are different from private lands, which private lands would be owned by an individual like you or me. It's our yard or our homestead. Anything is managed by an individual. Now, also, public lands are not owned by a business or an NGO. They're totally owned by the U.S. citizens and managed by government agencies. Lots of government agencies. Okay. Marianne is saying there's no entrance fee, but they have one park that has the parking fee and then boat rental fees and swimming fees, all small prices. Now there are, concessionaire fees for the different things, but generally, like, you can take the drive, you can do a auto phone tour if they have it, those kinds of things. You don't have to pay for using the picnic areas, driving loops, the scenic drives, things like that. You don't usually have to pay for, but concessionaire fees, and that's because they've kind of farmed that work out for somebody else to take care of the swimming pool or do the bus tours, things like that. So now, also, I want to clarify, when talking about public lands, we're talking about all different types of public lands. It's more than just the National Park Service. There's actually 63 parks in the National Park Service. But we do have national parks, national forests, national wildlife refuges, conservation areas, national monument, wilderness areas. I'm reading this list. National historic sites, national memorials, battlefields, preserves, recreation areas, wild and scenic rivers, national seashores, lake shores, and trails. That is a lot of different places, different agencies, all coming together to manage, all these different areas, lots of different things like that. So I like to think that there's something at a national park land, public land, that pretty much anybody can enjoy. And that's one of the things I like it. So pull up a couple of pictures here that I had to take of different places on my trips that I want to show. And I know there's nothing like having somebody's old vacation pictures. hopefully we can talk about the parks too. Let's see. Aha. Okay. There are just some amazing places out here. Okay, I'm going to start with going into still talking about the things here. Okay, so national parks are places like the Great Smoky Mountains, for example. And let's see if I pull it up. And just as I say this, I close out my list here. I cannot believe I just did that. Okay. So, national parks are places like the Great Smoky Mountains, Ragnall St. Elias in Alaska, Denali National Park, also in Alaska, Yellowstone, Yosemite, anything that ends with national park. So we have a lot more public lands than we have just national parks. But the largest national park is Ragnall St. Elias in Alaska. And I'm going to pull up a screen so I can share it with you, because not only is this the largest national park, and you'll want to remember that later, trivia question there, but it's also one of the least visited. And it is absolutely breathtaking. That's the little visitor center there. Oh, and you see my little van in the window. Okay, it's not little, but there we are. Ragnall St. Elias National Park. They're at the visitor center, and it's the whole area is just breathtaking because you can see forever, and it's windy. So here I am trying to stand up, and it is windy. So anyway, we'll get out of that. But it's an amazing place. Lots of our national parks are, but the really interesting thing about Ragnall St. Elias is it is over 9 million acres. I mean, like it's like, can you even imagine over almost 9.5 million? Like, how do you even? You're standing there and you're looking at it, and it just like your brain can't get around it. It's unbelievable. Ragnall St. Elias. Let me put this in. And I'll see if I can grab you a direct link to it. One of the first times I was there, I was just spellbound at the beauty, because you're looking at glaciers, you're looking at wilderness. It's mind blowing. Whoops. So there you go. That's a link to it. And I'm going to put, I created a document. I'm putting a link to this document down there in the description box too. So hopefully that'll help. So yeah. But it's just, you're standing there and you really can't get your mind around how huge this place really is until you get there. And it's cold. We were there in July, and in that photo you saw us wearing jackets, and that's because it's cold and we're down on the ground, and the higher the elevation, the colder it gets. So, you may be in like 40-degree weather in the summer down, toward the bottom, and then going on up. If you were to scale a mountain, then you're going to need some heavy duty winter gear. That's just the way it is there, because the higher the elevation, but it's fascinating. Plus, there's something about knowing that you're in a place that is one of the least visited national parks, you know? And yeah, Fairy Anna's saying, "Oh wow, very cool," and she's nailed it. Yeah. So there we go. Um, Also, one of the neat things about traveling is you get to be exposed to lots of different things, and part of the national lands also encompasses trails, our national trails. So we are talking about places like, pulling this up again, the Sheltie Trace. There we go. Yeah, now this is a national recreation trail, Sheltie Trace, and it's just a nice trail. It's always nice to be out in the fall, but it's an example of one of the national public lands. Also, the Appalachian Trail that runs from Georgia to Maine. That's another scenic trail. But we've also got like the Natchez Trace and other trails. Here in like the East Tennessee area, there's the Overland Victory Trail. All of those are also national park lands. But even though they're national park lands, a lot of the trails also go across private property. So you always want to be respectful of that. And if you're on a driving route for one of the trails, then that route is going to approximate. It may not be 100% on the mark all the time, especially like, let's say, Trail of Tears, for example. It's going to not be able to be on that set route all the time, but the road will approximate it. Okay. So, so that's important to keep in mind, because as time changes, so does our land, and so do our travel routes. So what a lot of our roads follow like old paths. For example, there was a route that goes through Tennessee, US 421. Part of that used to be an old buffalo route that was taken over essentially by people. And then later, part of that became, it was next to Highway 421. So 421 will approximate, but it's not exactly the same thing. But it gets you as close as it can, and you still get, most often, a good feel for the area, even though it may be a driving tour. But walking, again, you do have to realize that there are times when you're going to cross private property. And let's see, Fariana says that makes sense, and says that a river area I used to walk was old horse trails. Exactly. Exactly. It's the thing right there. So you still get, a good semblance of what it was, but you can't always do the exact thing that you want to do, but as close as you can. So that's what the trails do. And there's all kinds of public lands that we don't even think about, like the Gulf, Gulf Coast, down Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana. A lot of that is public lands. So we have the national seashores. And one example of that is the Gulf Islands National Seashore, which is actually, it's one of the first seashores that I went to, and I didn't even realize that it was a seashore at the time that I went. So as far as being managed by the National Park Service, but Davis Bayou is part of it. And this was like the first time I was ever at a bayou. I mean, really. And I know those of you who are in the Louisiana area and Mississippi area around the bayous are going to really laugh at me for saying that. But it was really cool. And there was this boardwalk that went out not far from the visitor center there. And yeah, going out so you could really see the bayou. So I just thought that was really cool. That's my photo of the sign there. It's just, you don't always think about the amazing array of things that we have with our public lands. Um, Another one, it's this is one that I know a lot of people are going to be familiar with this next photo that I'm going to show you. Hatteras Lighthouse. The Outer Banks of North Carolina. This is Hatteras Light around Cape Hatteras, and it's some of the barrier islands. And unfortunately, you'll hear the mentions a lot if there's a hurricane coming in off the coast, because they just rolls over the barrier islands. And in fact, at one point, because of beach erosion, they actually moved the lighthouse. I kid you not. Um, they picked it up and moved it to its current location, which is what you see. But it's just, in pre-COVID, you used to be able to climb up to the lens and actually see the light at the top of the lighthouse. I mean, not me. Not me personally, just tossing that out there. But a lot of people did. So hopefully they'll go back to that once we start getting a handle on life again. So, in another interesting place, Assateague. Who's heard of Assateague? Assateague Island. National Public Lands there, folks. So, really calm, really cool. Yeah. So, some neat places. Oh, let's see. We have got Tanya Lambert in. Let me go in. Back in here just a second. Okay, Fariana thinks it's cool too. Yep. Hey, Tanya. Thank you, Tanya, for remembering to say hit the like button. She has not. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous. And that's part of the things there is that our national public lands have national seashores, and there are parts of every coast. There are parts of Florida. There are parts that I just showed you. So, yeah, and if you ever get a chance to go to a national seashore, here's the really cool thing about it is it's natural. You don't have the high rises on the ocean like you do in a built up commercial area. So, if you really want to get back to the basics of a beach, try hitting the national seashore. Now, you may be pack in and pack out, so you may have to bring your lunch with you and pack out the trash with you. That's kind of the downside, because you're not going to be able to go to the beach necessarily and order a pizza. So bring it with you. But they're just wonderful for being more natural. So that's a great thing about our public lands, is that they try to protect and to preserve that, and that's what they do for both land and cultural things too. And let's see, Tanya's saying, I hope when I move next fall, we get to see some of those neat places on the way through to Tennessee. There are some neat things from you to hear. And when you get ready to move, let me know. I'm sure you will, but just let me know anyway, and I'll make you a list, because I've got a lot of notes from where I travel, so I can share you those links. I mean, Matthew was typing. Gotcha. Got you busy. That's a-okay. You're fine. All good there. All good. And I want to draw your attention to my hat. Don't you like my bodacious hat? My bodacious hat tonight is sponsored by Tanya Lambert, who sent this to me. Is that not cute? And it's got the tie on it so that next time I go out and I'm filming and my hat tries to blow off, I can grab it. If it doesn't, go ahead and catch. It fits me great, Tanya says. Well, thank you. Thank you. So, okay, so we have the national public lands, who are the seashores, the trails, things like that. National parks itself. My brain cell just died of something I was going to say. I'm sorry. But we also have our national battlefields that are part of the national public lands. And I'm going to pull up one of the bigger ones. Of course, we've got Chickamauga National Battlefield, Manassas, and this one is the Battle of Stones River. And this is a very, very large cemetery. But we also have national battlefields at like Little Bighorn. So, and this, let me go back. Okay, Stones River, one of the larger battles of the Civil War, also encompasses the Battle of Shiloh, which took place right around this church. Now, I think this is a reconstruction, but it took place all around here. And the Battle of Shiloh was named for this church, which is just a little small Methodist church. So, what blows my mind, and I didn't picture in my little brain before we went to this national public lands, is this huge battle took place around this little building. How crazy is that? That just kind of blew my mind. And here's what the inside looks like. See if I can blow this up somehow. Well, that's not really helping much. There. Okay. But that's the inside of the building for Shiloh Methodist Church. And you can see the wooden pews and everything just as it would have been, back in the day. Beautiful place. Very historic, but wow. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Peter. I hate to hear that for you. I don't blame you. You just take your time and rest, okay? I'm so sorry, Peter. And Tanya's saying that she doubts she'll be able to do much sightseeing as she's moving from Missouri to Tennessee with animals. Well, it kind of depends on the animals. As far as public lands, most public lands will allow dogs on a leash that's 6 feet or less. Now, there are a few exceptions, but by and large, you can do that. And let's see. Busy's going to be in and out. Gotcha. Like that. Thumbs up. And yes, do give us a thumbs up. Thank you all for reminding me on that. Okay. But in addition to, here's the photo I was going to show you of the Great Smoky Mountains. The Great Smoky Mountains is not as big as Ragnall St. Elias that we just talked about, but this can give you an idea. I mean, you're looking at a national park and you can just see forever. And that's one of the really cool things about our public lands. But they also have monuments. And the national park monuments are not necessarily like the Lincoln Memorial. Although that is, okay, don't get me wrong, the Lincoln Memorial is the number one most visited monument. And it's really cool. And somewhere on YouTube is a video of me giving an invocation and then speaking. Maybe I'm just speaking. Anyway, I'll have to go back and look at it. But somewhere on the internet, there's video of me on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and I am doing the invocation or preaching. It is the number one most visited national monument, and it's really cool. But monuments can also be natural. Case in point, who's heard of Devil's Tower? It's been featured in a lot of movies. So let me know if you've heard of Devil's Tower. Because here it is. I took a sweeping panoramic shot, but that's the Devil's Tower, and that's Devil's Tower National Monument. So it can be, our monuments can be anything from, steel and brick to natural fixtures on the land, like that one. Let's see. Tanya says, we have to transport fish, which means a water change every 2 hours. Okay. And Archer. Archer probably won't be as much of a problem. Now, there will be places where it's not safe for Archer. I think we've talked before. Like, I got stopped on a trail at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And I'm like, I'm looking at the volunteer. And I'm like, sir, he's a service dog. Very plain. Service dog. And he's like, yeah. He said, legally, I can't keep you off of the trail, but we don't want anybody taking dogs on there right now because of the bears. And dogs and bears are known antagonists. So if you go to a national park that's got bears, you may not be able to take your service dog there. And that's because it's a safety issue. The other thing that you can run into sometimes is rattlesnakes. So that's sometimes an issue. Like here we have Fort Craig. And that's another problem that I ran into over here at this public land. And that is keep eyes open for snakes. Now, Fort Craig is a really interesting fort. And they've got trails that you can go hike on. But you have to pick up the guide because it's you can't always see the trail as well if you're not used to it. So you do always want to pick up a guide wherever it's available, a guidebook, or a brochure, either way. But you want to keep your eyes out for snakes. And that makes it a little rough for dogs because dogs are notorious for doing what? For sticking their nose in where it doesn't belong. So you may run into problems usually in those two areas, but your fish, you're going to not want to leave for long. So got that. Let's see. Oh, Tanya, is that one of your pictures? Could you send me that picture? I would love to draw it or have Ann drawing it while in chemo. Be glad to. Not a problem. Tanya says, I love the mountain pictures. The farm we're looking at. A couple of them that are right at the base. Awesome. Good. Okay, then Tanya says that I cannot go there. Probably not on the trails, but you can usually get into the visitor center and see the film and the exhibits because the visitor centers at the national park lands are usually set up with the exhibits like a small museum. So you get a sense of the history and the culture of the area in addition to seeing the land itself. So you can usually go in, visitor centers are usually number one, handicapped accessible, thank God, and usually very easy to get in and out of as far as, from the entrance of the park. Tanya says, I cannot walk without him outside. Yeah, totally feel you on that. Okay. Tanya says she got good news about a friend with cancer. They said all the cancer was in the lymph nodes they removed. So they're doing the chemo now to be safe, but she should be cancer free. That's awesome. That is fabulous news. Absolutely fabulous news. So, okay. And we talked about national seashores, but there's also national lake shores. Like this one, let me keep my mouse down there. This National Lake Shore, Indiana Dunes National Park, is the National Lake Shore. Also, up in Alaska, there's a Lake Clark Nature Preserve, which is really cool. With that, though, you really can't get to it except by plane up in Alaska. But you can still enjoy it from a distance. There is this spot as you're driving down the Kenai Peninsula. There's this spot where you can pull over, and the parking lot is huge, and you can walk onto this hill. And basically, there's a little sign saying Lake Clark Preserve, National Preserve, that way. and so it's pointing you in that direction. And so the only other way you can get there is to fly, or I guess you could take a boat, but that's the main thing. Most of the time, people fly. So our lands have this huge variety to them, and that's why I say that there's often something for everyone at a national park land. But conservation of wildlife is a big thing that they also do, because wildlife get injured, they get sick, and so our national park lands exist to help, take care of the animals. Like this big guy here who's sitting there munching in the grass. He's a grizzly, and he was found injured and taken to a wildlife conservation center. And so there you have it. So, all right, that's some of the things. Whoops. Quit. Okay. That's some of the things about our national parks, national park lands, national forests. Thank you, Tanya. I'm glad you do. I am glad. She says she likes the photos, so she's making my day here. This is one you might like. We didn't really talk too much about national forests, but each part of each agency has kind of their own thing for what they do. Like Fish and Wildlife handles fish and wildlife, and so on like that. National Parks manages our culture and history of the national parks. National Wildlands, they take care of our wild and scenic rivers, our wilderness areas. National monuments, kind of self-explanatory there. They take care of our various national monuments, whether human-made or man-made. And national forests, this photo that I'm about to share is from the Cherokee National Forest in East Tennessee. And so here we go. And you can see where somebody's bought part of the guardrail there. So you always want to watch your speed when you're going through a national forest. But at the national parks, you can't take anything out with you. And at the national seashore, you can take like little shell fragments, things like that. But that's basically it. At the national forests, you can get permits to cut Christmas trees if you're near a national forest. You can get permits to go gold panning even at the national forest. A lot of people are surprised to know that you still do gold panning sometimes. And if you are, then drop that comment down below. But yeah, that's one of the things you can do in a national forest, but you can't do it at a national park. Just saying. So, okay, who's up for the trivia questions? We have 6 trivia questions. And I've been over all of this just so you would have a good shot at getting the right answers. So, okay, trivia question number 1. Okay, wait a minute. I love the postcards, so I'd love to have postcards from every national site. I would love to go to every national site and send you a postcard. That would be cool. Do you know, I'll look and see if I still have a couple of postcards. I may put one in the mail to you. Hey, one of the farms we're looking at butts up against that forest. It's a large forest. It's gorgeous. Like every other forest, though, in this general region, you are going to have the occasional deer or occasional bear or raccoons. So you've got your wildlife, which is really kind of cool. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I think it would be to go to all of them. Oh my gosh. So, okay. Trivia question number 1. Yellowstone National Park. It is a public land, yes or no? That is a yes. Yellowstone National Park is a public land. And Tanya got that right too. So, yep. And it looks like we may have had a couple of people drop off here, but that's okay. It happens. I know that, Stellar Piper can't be with us tonight, and a couple of people, busy ladies, can be in and out. So, I don't know where Laurel is. Let's see, over here. Here we go. But I don't know where Laurel is. We'll have to say hi to her afterwards. Okay. Tanya got it. Good. Yep. Okay. Here's another one. Are all public lands free all year? Yeah, Tanya, I don't know. Are all national park lands free all year? So yes or no? And the answer is no, they are not all free all year. Like I said, there are 6 free days, and then the rest have the admissions fee at some locations. Now, there are some that do not have an admissions fee. Hey, Gloria's in. Hi, Gloria. There are some that don't have an admissions fee, like the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, for example. And then there are some, like Glacier National Park, where if you go and it's on season, you're paying over $30 to get in. So, anyway, hi, Gloria, and welcome. Okay, so the next one, the National Wilderness Preservation System oversees A, 50 million acres, B, 109 million acres, or C, 200 million acres. Now, I don't think I really covered this, so this is a guess. And I'll put that in there. So I'm typing the question in. Which do you think it is? B? Gloria, what do you think? Going once? Going twice? And the answer is B, the 109. And I'll go ahead and type that in. And that is according to the National Wilderness Preservation System. So there you go. All right. And so the largest wilderness protection area is, and you guys are gonna get this, I'm sure, because we talked about it. And yes, Tanya's doing the happy dance. Absolutely. She got it right. She deserves that happy dance. And it is A, Pelican Island Wilderness. These are the answers you can choose from. Pelican Island Wilderness, Ragnall St. Elias, which we just talked about. Whoops. There's Ragnall St. Elias. Hey, we have Hike with Mike in. So, hello, how are you? And the question that we're on is our question number 4. And I'm going to type that back in again. And that is the largest wilderness area. And of course, this is in the U.S. The largest wilderness area is a choice of A, Pelican Island, B, Ragnall St. Elias, and C, Blackbeard Island. So you guys can guess. Tanya's saying C. Okay. Does everybody agree with C? Gloria's saying B. Okay. And Gloria would have it right. Gloria would have it right. Because Ragnall St. Elias sits there at 9,432,000 acres. How cool is that? Where Pelican Island Wilderness in Florida has 5.5 acres, so it's actually the smallest. And Blackbeard Island National Wildlife Refuge in Georgia has just over 5,600 acres. So, yeah. So, congratulations. So, yeah, yay for Gloria. Pelican Island was the first wildlife refuge created by my boy, Teddy Roosevelt. Yay! Teddy Roosevelt was like the guardian angel of the national parks that set aside not just national parks, but all the national lands that we know. He set the precedent for that. So we have a lot to be thankful for. All right, number 5. What is the most visited national park named designation in the U.S.? And as I toss this one out, I just want to say that a lot of times we will see a park and we'll automatically associate it with a national park, whereas it may be a national park land or it may be a national monument, national seashore, such as that. So we're talking about a named national park designation. And this is according to the visitation numbers with the U.S. National Park Service. Yellowstone? Nope. It is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee and North Carolina. That was in 2020. Here we go. I'll pull that up so we can all see just to make sure. Because I do type in things wrong sometimes, like whole head injury thing going here. But here we are. 10 most visited national parks, designated national parks in 2020 are number one is the Great Smoky Mountains, but several of you said Yellowstone. That's a really good guess. That came in at number 2. Zion at number 3. Rocky Mountain National Park, number 4. I'm just reading these for people, and just in case you can't see it. Then Grand Teton National Park at 5. 6, the Grand Canyon National Park. 7, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. 8 is Acadia up in Maine. 9 is Olympic National Park. And 10, we had Joshua Tree. So Great Smoky Mountain Parks leading by far and away at 12.1 million recreational visits, as opposed to Yellowstone with 3.8 million visits. Now, I will tell you that right now it is so busy at some of the national parks that they're issuing timed tickets. So if you are going to a national public land, call and check ahead of time. Check the website at least, just to find out, how busy they are and if you need time tickets. We were able to go in August to the Painted Desert, and fortunately did not need a time ticket for there, but it was much more crowded than I remember it being before. And I guess I've been probably about 4 or 5 times now. So it's a lot more crowded. And that's because with COVID, we've all been cooped up inside the house too long, and we all want to go out, right? So, and let's see. Acadia is nice. Cool. Now, so whoever just said Acadia is nice, I don't see a name with your profile. So if you could give us something to call you, that would be great. Okay, that's a good point. Let me just back up a little bit to hike with Mike here, okay? First, Liberty Island, where the Statue of Liberty is, unfortunately was not it. And Tanya says, cool, I hope to go there after I move. Here we go. The person who says Acadia is nice, if you could give me a rough idea of something to call you, that would be great. And now we do have the most popular. Next question is going to be the most popular national monument. And this is according to Travel and Leisure. And that would be either A, the Golden Gate Bridge, B, the Lincoln Memorial, or C, the Statue of Liberty. And let's see, Hike with Mike is saying that he avoids national parks and goes to WMAs. I like the solitude. Yep, wilderness managed areas. Much quieter. You don't have all the services, of course, but they are a lot quieter. I will agree. Let's see, Mike's saying Statue of Liberty. Tanya's saying A. And it is the Lincoln Memorial. We'll pull that up just to check it. Just to make sure. Just a second here. Pull this in. Again, this one is according to Travel and Leisure. Let me bump my size down here. Get all of this in. There we go. So most visited national monuments. This one they are saying is the Lincoln Memorial with annual visitors almost 6 million. Number 2, they're saying, is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial with annual visitors exceeding 4 million. On over to the World War II Memorial in Washington also, and that's almost just under 4 million. And then number 4 is the Statue of Liberty, New York/New Jersey, with annual visitors of 3,749,000 plus. So really, really close there. Going on into Independence Historic Park in Philly, Korean War Veterans Memorial in Washington, FDR Memorial in Washington. Number 7, Jefferson National Expansion Memorial, which was number 8. And this is, we're a little behind on our pictures. Mount Rushmore, Keystone, South Dakota. Obviously, that picture is the arch and not Mount Rushmore. There we go. And then number 10, Thomas Jefferson Memorial in Washington. There we are. So that's Travel and Leisure. And I've got the link to the document, and I have linked to the sources. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I've linked to the sources on those. So if you have extra time and you just want to check out some of these things, there you go. So we just have this huge abundance. The U.S. is really pretty fortunate in this. The idea of crowds make me want to stay home. I agree. It's really tough right now, but I will say that going during the week, you have less chance of crowds. What you can run into if you go during the week is school groups. And the nice thing about school groups is you see them coming. So, it's not like this constant steady stream. They're in batches. And so I feel like they are easier to avoid than, just like a lot of random folks, in little clumps. So also going in the morning as opposed to waiting until lunchtime makes a big difference too. Let's see. Hike with Mike says, Tanya, that's why I hike and camp in swamps. The only crowd I worry about are mosquitoes. Yeah, they'll carry you off though. The mosquitoes get intense. That was something that up in Alaska about killed me. Up at Denali National Park, I never expected there to be like tons of mosquitoes. It wasn't so bad like necessarily at the front part at the Denali, if that makes any sense. But when you went on into the national park, the wildlife preserve, then the mosquitoes got to be really bad. What do you use? They told us to do 100% deep, but I'm not sure that it actually did any good. Yeah. Yeah, Tanya's saying that's an unwelcome visitor. Can be. But yeah, up here around Denali, I mean, it's gorgeous. There's nothing up here except water, national park folks, and scenery. And mosquitoes. Lots of mosquitoes. Well, we did see a couple of grizzlies. But by and large. And like, we did the 100% deep thing, and it was like, oh my gosh. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Some of these are blurry because my connection's not that great. We got to go whale watching a couple of times out of Kenai, off the Kenai Peninsula in Seward. It was an amazing experience. I was hoping to get to go hiking because I wanted to go up to one of the glaciers, but yeah, I was the only one that wanted to out of our group. And they were like, okay, the one that can't walk is the one that wants to go hiking to the glacier. Go figure. I'm like, yeah. Tanya says school groups with a service dog equals run the other way. With me, I was able to talk to the teachers, and they were able to filter it onto the chaperones. Like I made like this whole like go straight to the teacher. Whoever has the magic clipboard is the one in charge. So I would go like say, hey, make sure that nobody pets my dog. Don't even try. Yeah. I've always wanted to visit Maine and Vermont in the fall. Those are going to be gorgeous. Sarah Rosario, hey, how are you and welcome? Yes, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Boats are scary because of my balance. Um, Honestly, Major Marine Tours out of Seward did a fabulous job with me, and we had an older lady that was on the trip with us too, and they took a lot of care to make sure that we were on the boat safely, we were secured, and they were like, just tell us if you have any problems or have any questions or need any help. And it just really was a good experience both times I used them. Not so with Hurricane Fleet in North Carolina. No, no, no. But amazing, amazing experience there. They just were phenomenal. And they had, let me see. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see if I can get a picture of the boat. Mm-mm. I don't have a picture of the boat. I'm sorry. I tried. But they did have, like, they would help really with whatever you needed. Here's a shot that we took from the boat of the whales feeding, and you have all the seagulls. But honestly, Tanya, I would say that if you do have a chance and you want to go, just talk to them. Look on their website and email them or call them ahead of time, because they can make arrangements. You may not want to go outside on the deck while the boat's in motion. You may want to stay put, whether that's staying put outside on a bench or whether it's staying inside and seeing out. There's still a lot you can see, even though you may be inside the boat. So, yeah, definitely talk to them because, look at it this way: they want your money. They're going to do whatever they can to make you comfortable and happy. You know. So yeah. Oh, sorry, I was about to sneeze there. But yeah, I hear you about boats being scary. Loved hiking the glaciers, most beautiful place I have been to. Yeah, I want to do that so bad. One of these days. It's on my list. My ever growing list of things that I want to do. The whales are amazing, and like I said, if you ever get a chance to go, they'll work with you. They'll do whatever they can to make you happy and comfortable. And hey, you all, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, okay, on the stream. Has flipping amazing fall colors right now, or at this moment, or are they starting? Like, when did the fall colors really happen up there? Because like in the East Tennessee, Western North Carolina area, we're just starting, just the very beginning point of some color. Um, Most people will not be happy if they come down here specifically right now to see the color, but it's just starting. Okay, and Tanya says, but with 2 braces on my feet, I cannot navigate the boat steps. I don't remember if they have steps. I know at Walt Disney World, there's one of the boats that you go from the dock, and I think there is one step, but it's not like you're not like stepping over anything. You've got like literally right up next to the dock on the step of the boat. So I'm thinking that the one in Alaska is like that too, marine. So definitely check to make sure. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in Missouri near St. Louis. We have beautiful colors. Awesome. It's coming. In Florida, our whales are manatees. Oh my goodness. That would be amazing to see. See, I haven't really spent, like, I've not been to Florida other than, well, I went to the shuttle launch and a couple of times, and we drove up the coast for a little while, and I've done like the whole Walt Disney World thing. But I really haven't gotten to explore Florida yet. So, where's the best place to see the manatees? I'm going to rely on your experience. Oh, Hike with Mike says, I visited the Midwest in the fall. October is best in the Midwest. In Florida, where I am from, the best fall colors between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That makes sense. Yeah, here October is the best too, but we'll hold color like going into November, first week in November sometimes. They the National Forest Service used to have a fall color map, and that would help you see what the colors were when you wanted to go. I think they still have that. Let me see, because they would predict the peak. Ah, here we go. Found it. Fall foliage prediction map. Great Smoky Mountain. I'm sorry, SmokyMountains.com has it. Because I talked to some visitors who were going to the, I guess it was the Cherokee National Forest one year, and they had made all these plans to come because they wanted to see all these great colors, but they came at the end of September, and that just wasn't working for them. So I was standing there online trying to think if there was some way that we could help them, and stumbled across, I thought it was from the Forestry Service though. This is one I just pulled up right quick, and it's got the little slider down here. So you can see if you want to come, what month it'll change. Like October 11th, that's what we're looking at. And then November the 15th, that's how it is. So, that might be fun to play around with. If you have time and you want to play around with the foliage map. Let's see. I would love to swim with the dolphins. That would be cool. That would be. I'd like to see some more up close. I had a terrible experience. You all who are just watching this may not know, but I had a terrible experience with a dolphin watching tour and didn't get to see anything. And what I did get to see, I was hurting. So it's like I'm trying to, be happy. It wasn't working. So if you're ever in North Carolina and you have a chance to go take a tour with Hurricane Tours, be careful and read the reviews. I guess I should say read the reviews for all of them, just in case. Anyway, Ike with Mike is saying Crystal River, Florida for manatees, but now overdevelopment is a threat to them. See, that's part of the thing that no matter where you are, you're at risk for hitting overdevelopment right now. And that one of the things I really like about national park lands is they're trying to keep it as natural as possible, so we don't have all the overdevelopment, and we can still enjoy some of these natural areas, and so can our kids and their kids. Okay, Tanya says she has to go. Good night. Tanya, thanks for coming and hanging out for a while. You have a great night. Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you for that reminder. And please, everyone, do hit that like button. So, that just about brings us to the end of our evening here. Okay. Now, Mike is also making a good point about too many recreational boaters are a threat to manatees. So we do want to keep that in mind. You know, rules and parameters exist for a reason. Oh, thank you, Gloria. Thank you. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and hanging out. This has been a great live stream. Um, Hopefully, this will encourage you to get out and visit your national public lands. Enjoy the outdoors, enjoy nature, and remember, we are always about the hashtag be bodacious, which means you're not going to let life get in the way of living. So if you get a chance to do these things, call ahead and find out how you can do these things and have fun safely and minimize your impact on the environment. Thanks again, y'all, for hanging out. Have a good night. I'll see you Saturday at 7 p.m. and on a couple of videos this week. Goodbye, y'all.